On July 25th, 2009, Saturday morning, I had woken up, and as I woke up, I had this pain in my jaw. And I fought with it. I thought that it would just go away. And I was walking around the kitchen, just looking around, wondering what to do, asking God really to take the pain away, because I had to, in just a few minutes, I had to leave for a baptism at Northland Oviedo. And as I was getting ready to go, it was this pain moved from here, and then it was like a knife. It was like someone grabbed a 4-inch knife, and they started here, and it slowly went down and cut me. And if I had looked down, I would have thought I was bleeding. It was that much pain. And I sat down and I came to you and I said, Lisa, there's something wrong. I think I'm having a heart attack. So we got into the emergency vehicle and got rushed to the emergency room. They did a CAT scan, and 3 minutes after the CAT scan, they wheeled me back into the emergency room, and there was 4 surgeons at our door. And the surgeon came up to me and he said, Mr. Hill, you're not having a heart attack, you've had an aortic dissection. And I responded to him, I said, well, at least it's not a heart attack. It's not as bad as open heart surgery. And he said, Mr. Hill, it's worse. He says, you have 2 choices. One is you have around 10 hours maybe to live. The other choice is that you have this emergency surgery that will take at least 7 hours. The risk of a heart attack, the risk of stroke, the risk of paralyzation is great. He said to me, he says, 50% of the people do not make it to the emergency room. He says, God must have something more for you. He says, do you know Jesus? Those were the words from our doctor, from our surgeon. He said, do you know Jesus? Because you're going to need him. And then he went on to say, he says, say goodbye to your family. He says, because you're going into surgery. And so the first thing that I wanted was Lisa to sing to me. I wanted Lisa to sing as we said goodbye. And she sang. She sang to me. They prayed with me. I said goodbye to my son. My daughter was an hour or so away, and he said, there's no time to wait. You can't wait for your daughter. So I told my son, Jordan, I said, Jordan, the last words I want to leave to you is, Jesus is worth following. Follow him the rest of your life. Jordan took it hard. You were there. You saw Jordan. But I was able to say those powerful words, at least God's words, to Jordan. And then as I was being wheeled away, I said to Melissa over the telephone, I said, Melissa, I'll fight for you. I'll fight for you to see you. I'll see you again. And then the last words I said to Lisa was, what were the last words I said to you?
It's been a good 25 years.
It's been the best 25 years. And I didn't want to let her go. And I didn't want to say goodbye. And the last words I heard from God, as may as well have been audible, was he said to me, he says, Doug, do you really now see how little control you've got of your life?
Then we had to step out, and then that's when the doors shut, and they were locked, and you couldn't get back in. And that's when I kind of lost it. And I remember so clearly there was a corridor, a walkway between 2 buildings, and it was just filled with windows. And I remember walking there and stopping and leaning against the window and just starting to literally sob. And a nurse or somebody in scrubs walked by, and she stopped, and she came over and she grabbed me by the arm, and she looked at me, she said, who's your patient? And I was like, pardon? And she said, who's your patient? I said, Doug Hill. She said, I want you to know that I'm started already to pray for Doug Hill, and I'm gonna pray for him through the evening and through the night. And I said, thank you so much. And a calmness just came over me, and from that point on, through the rest of this 7 and 8 hours of surgery, throughout the next couple of days, there was just this calmness.
People from Northland, I heard that we didn't even know were in the halls. Praying for us, that never showed up in the waiting room.
Because there was 40 people there.
And so just God's blessing of the people all around the world praying for me, for you.
And we felt it, we felt sustained through that time. It was pretty amazing.
And so that happened. The operation was successful.
And so the next morning we thought, oh, maybe they'll allow us to touch his arm, or, we thought he was probably still unconscious. And we walked around the corner and kind of took a second, look at each other and back at him, and he was sitting up in bed and the tubes were out and he was eating ice.
And the doctors were saying
it's a miracle. So then by Monday, because Doug had just progressed so quickly beyond what they had expected him to, he was out of ICU, and we were able to get the web stream in there. There was internet. And Vernon knew that Doug was going to get a chance to watch.
Let me tell you about somebody else that I know is online with his family worshiping with us. Doug Hill is one of our elders at the Oviedo location of Northland. Doug had a life-threatening emergency, but it's just a miracle that Doug is with us, and not only is he with us, but he had got up and walked around today, and he and his whole family are at the hospital worshiping online with us. And Doug, it's an answer to prayer that you're with us, and so we're so thankful that God is healing you.
And Doug's normally not much of a crier, but he just began to weep, and it was just such a blessing, total blessing.
In times of need, in times of crisis, the church, God's body, is there for us.